today's top 5, your Super Wrestling Entertainment System, we're going to explore my top 5 scary or horror games. Now these games aren't all going to be blood and guts, monsters and gore. There's some fun ones, some fun ones for you guys, kids as well, but it's one of my favourite gaming genres. There's nothing quite like getting the lights out, getting a quick scare, and then taking on hordes of the undead, for example. So join me as we go through my top 5 scary / horror games.
Released in 2014, Alien Isolation is a survival horror game like no other survival horror game I think I've ever played. As a fan of the Alien franchise and growing up having watched it, being far too young to be watching it, and it scaring the bejesus out of me then, the way that they have faithfully stuck to the style of presentation of the early Alien movie just really adds to the layers that this game has in terms of how it will absolutely scare you senseless. The AI of the alien, which is unkillable, which adds to it, is second to nothing else I've seen in any kind of horror game. It will adapt to what you do throughout the game, and it will find you and it will kill you. It is a treasure of a horror game, and I highly suggest that you try it out. So released in 1993 for the Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis or Mega Drive, Zombies Ate My Neighbours is a top-down perspective, ideally two-player co-op game where your job is to save your neighbours from the impending onslaught of these adorable, cartoonish zombies. It's definitely a game to be played with someone else. I don't think I enjoyed it as much playing it by myself, and yeah, it's just a blast. Like the way the levels are designed is really cool. How you can traverse various bits to get away or to get to, your neighbour to save them and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, definitely recommend Zombies Ate My Neighbours for a grand old two-player time. Released in 1999 for the PlayStation 1, Silent Hill is probably the most fear-inducing game I've ever played, and part of that is down to how simplistic the elements of how the game tries to scare you. When you are going around Silent Hill and there's just this thick fog where you can't see anything, the old adage is what you can't see is scarier than what you can see, and this just takes that to a whole new level, somewhat better than Resident Evil does. And it adds a static radio effect if there's enemies nearby, so obviously if you hear that but you can't see the enemy come in, that's what adds to it, as well as the puzzles are so well thought out, to the point where I couldn't complete this game for months towards the end of it. I definitely recommend getting a hold of this, as well as Silent Hill 2, because these two games kind of tie themselves to how good they are. So yeah, Silent Hill is definitely a good scary time. Released in 1999 for the PlayStation 1, Resident Evil 3 was only meant to be an add-on to Resident Evil 2. However, Sony higher-ups decided that they wanted the first 3 Resident Evil games to be on the first console before they moved on to the next generation, i.e. PlayStation 2. But this Resident Evil game is my absolute favourite. for nostalgia reasons, as well as it's actually a really good survival horror game. It ups the action a bit more than other Resident Evil games, and the constant threat and nemesis just makes this game amazing. There's so many good set pieces in it, as well as replayability with the extra costumes that you can get at the end. I would recommend playing this as well as the remake that's just released. You'll maybe see me do a review on that very, very soon. But yes, Resident Evil 3, absolutely my favourite Resident Evil game. Now The Last of Us is not only my favourite horror game, it's my favourite game pretty much of all time. The story is just so dynamic in the way that you are involved in practically everything that goes on, as well as how grounded it is in terms of how real the actual disease that causes the zombies is to the real world. That's part of the charm of it. But moving away from the story and focusing more on it being a horror game, you can play through this game on normal difficulty and get a good experience. But the second that you decide that you're going to play it on grounded, that's when you experience this game. There are certain things that are removed. The listening mode, where you can see through walls via the super hearing that you have, that's taken away, and you can die very, very easily, very, very realistically, and that just adds another level. It's almost like a different game when you play it on grounded. And I remember the first time that I actually completed it on grounded, it was just an experience from start to finish. So you can play it through first for the story, and then play it through on grounded for the experience of surviving the game. That is our list for today, guys. I really hope you enjoyed going through that with me. Please remember, if you visit w3lwrestling.com, you can support the W3L by purchasing any of our support packages. They start from as little as £5 to show your support to what we hope has been a company that has entertained you throughout the years and hopes to entertain you in the future when we get past this time. We have ringside seats as low as $8.33, signed posters and DVDs, and video messages from your favourite W3L stars on offer. So please visit w3lwrestling.com to show your support.